All right, cool. Did you like the croissant? They're all good. They're all good. All right. I would like to welcome Ayesha Bhutto. She's here with us today, Technical Account Manager at Datadog. She has a focus on project management and technical success. When she's not working, she likes exploring outdoors. And she also mentioned that she's not out in the outdoors. She probably most likely is shopping. We have a fashion specialist here. So if you have some question. And she's here today to present power tools to hammer through conversations.
Awesome, thank you. Good morning, Montreal. As you just heard, my name is Ayesha Bhutto, and I'm a technical account manager working for Datadog. Now, that's just a fancy word of saying that I help out with the technical implementation, the consultation, recommendation, best practices, blah, 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 blah. Everything technical Datadog. Now, my background wasn't always in tech, actually. Tech is just something I've learned to grow and develop and enjoy and like. Actually, we brown people only have 3 things when we grow up: a doctor, a lawyer, and an engineer. So I chose to be an engineer. Now, my background is in electrical engineering, yes, and that's nothing to do with tech, and that's nothing to do with my job today. Now, in school, we had a lot of lab work with electrical circuits, power generation, regenerative electricity, everything that I basically don't do today. And I think back and I think to myself, like, first of all, why did I do that if I don't use that today? But secondly, if I did do that, what tools and what skills can I take from my engineering days and apply it to my daily job? Now, as you can imagine, as we were doing these labs, there were so many times we had to use actual power tools to actually build these circuits, right? You have all these wires and light bulbs and switches and whatnot to actually compose this electrical system. So this is what I like to call, in today's day and age, in today's work, and in our technical roles, power skills. So power skills are essentially the evolved form of soft skills. They are the bedrock of our organization, and they help us essentially establish a company culture. Now, we can say soft skills, but I like to think power skills empower us. They allow us to be who we are today, and they allow us to have interactions with not only our company, but our stakeholders as well. So today in this talk, I'll go over what power tools you can use and compare it to some skills that you can utilize and leverage in your daily job, and essentially we can build a toolbox together. And just like Bob the Builder, we'll literally be Bob the Builder. So let's start off with a blueprint, right? Just like when you are trying to build something, you gotta look at the plan, you gotta look at a set of instructions. They may not be the terrible IKEA instructions, but we definitely need a blueprint here. So we'll go over the power skills that we have at hand, and one disclaimer I wanna mention is that you are not limited to the skills that you will see on the screen, sorry. This is your own personal toolbox. These are just the core skills that I find have been very useful in my daily job, and skills that I've come across in multiple engineering roles while working in tech. So let's go over these one by one, right? So what are the tools that we have in hand? Let's start off with the first one. Our first tool that we have is communication. And I like to compare this to our hammer. So just like a hammer drives a nail in one at a time, effective communication can be leveraged in the same way. When communication is used effectively, whether that's verbally or non-verbally, you start to see progress being built. You start to see one nail at a time being hammered in. Number 2 is leadership, and I like to compare this to the power drill of our toolbox. So just like a power drill's job is to create essentially holes into a wall, leadership creates opportunities. It creates pathways. It removes obstacles from people's courses. So we have a power drill here in our toolbox. Number 3 is empathy, which I like to compare to our metaphorical tape measure. The tape measurer's job is to make sure that you are aligned, make sure you have measured everything perfectly, and empathy is the same way. Empathy is ensuring that you are measuring that and making sure that your team is properly equipped and properly aligned with everything. Number 4 is adaptability, and I like to say this is your adjustable wrench. So with that wrench, you like to change the shape of it depending on how small or big that bolt is, and that's how you essentially would build something when it comes to that. Adaptability is the same thing. We adapt to situations, we adapt to people, we adapt to environment. So again, adaptability is just a wrench in our toolbox. And then finally, we have our level, which I'd like to say is teamwork. Just like teamwork, you want to be leveled on everything. You want to be leveled on a project. You want to be leveled on an outcome. Teamwork uses the same skill here to essentially do the same thing. Now, again, these power skills are the core 5 skills that I've personally realized have helped me in my daily job. You are not limited to these skills, but these are the skills that I would recommend that you equip in your own personal toolbox as we go through this talk. Now, we went over the blueprint. We understood what we have at hand. Let's talk about the toolbox itself. So we'll go into how we can further develop these skills and utilize them in our daily job. Now, we have our hammer, so this is communication. I mentioned one thing before, in that communication doesn't necessarily mean being verbally communicative. It means being communicative in nonverbal situations as well. Now, we've all seen these in scenarios where we get these lengthy emails that basically have no value to it, or that could be summed up in one sentence. So effective communication means making sure we aren't sending lengthy emails, we're keeping them clear and concise to the point. Also, when we have meetings, we are putting up documents or meeting syncs or meeting notes to ensure that we have everything that was captured in the meeting. And even blog posts, right? Sometimes you see people writing pages and pages of blog posts that essentially can mean the same thing in one word. And we've also seen those useless meetings that can be summed up in an email as well, right? So effective communication is being clear, concise, getting to the point, and not dragging on an idea. Now, just as in a hammer, as I mentioned, can hammer in one nail at a time, communication does the same. We're building one thing at a time and making sure we're not damaging our fingers and we're not damaging the object in the way. What does damage here mean? Now, when ineffective communication is applied, damage can be created. You can create misalignment on a project, miscommunication, and that can lead to a whole set of new problems that we don't want to uncover. So again, making sure that not only we are verbally communicative, but in those nonverbal situations, we're clear, concise, and to the point. Let's talk about our power drill. So this is the leadership skill that we will leverage. Now, leadership is about creating opportunities. You don't have to be a people manager. You don't have to be a director or someone in the C-suite role to actually be a leader. Being a leader means being someone who removes obstacles, someone who helps out, someone who facilitates growth and encourages growth. It encourages more power and more empowering other people, such as your team members. This can mean helping out with new hires that come in. This can mean helping out new interns. This can mean something really small, like helping out with a new tool that your company is starting to leverage, and you may be the only one who's using it. And then if you are a people manager, this can mean literally just hearing out your employees and see what they have to say, and understanding that people come in from different perspectives. So leadership really, when used and harnessed effectively, creates an entire company culture, right? Now, make sure to not get a crack in the wall. Sometimes when we use a power drill, we see, one crack and then it spreads multiple times. And by this crack, I mean ineffective leaders can make or break a company culture. We've all seen it. We've seen companies with incredible leaders that have facilitated great culture in and outside of the company. So again, effective leadership is not just being a leader position, but also maintaining that growth of your employees. Now let's talk about that tape measure. So this is empathy. Nobody is asking you to be a therapist. I don't think anyone in this room is a therapist, correct me if I'm wrong. Empathy just means being aware of your emotional intelligence, being aware of your surroundings, and realizing that we all come from different cultures, different backgrounds, different parts of the world, and that's beautiful because we all bring in different ideas. But sometimes people react in a way that they do for very different situations, right? It could be internal, it could be external, but whether the reaction, we want to be empathetic. We want to understand and be emotionally aware. Now, this is a skill that sometimes people are just good at right off the bat, right? You see people who are incredible at reading other humans, but then there's people who struggle with that, and that's completely okay. I think it's better for you to say, I'm sorry, I didn't understand the situation, than to misinterpret someone's feelings, misinterpret someone's situation. So having an empathetic mindset toward a problem, being empathetic in a solution, in a project, it really goes a long way in showing that you are aware of someone's emotional well-being and state. Now let's talk about wrench. So this is the adaptability skill. Ever since we joined the tech industry, all we've been hearing is, oh, what you learned 3 years ago, you won't be applying that anymore. And while that's true, we know that we have to be adaptable when it comes to tech. Being adaptable is not just being adaptable to the software suites that we have, but adaptable to our team, adaptable to our company, adaptable to our stakeholders, the entire organization. What does that mean? It doesn't mean being put in an uncomfortable situation and then adapting to that uncomfortable situation. It means finding a comfort zone that works with you, that works with your team, your organization, and adapting to that slowly. Now, we've seen situations where sometimes something new is brought in and we may or may not like it. But when we go in with that open mindset and try to understand why this change is happening, why we are doing things in the way that we are adapting to the tool, we're adapting to the situation. So I would just recommend here again, just have that mindset that you are using a wrench. And then finally, we have our teamwork, which I'd say is our level. Now, teamwork is about being on the same level, right? Just as you use a level, you want to make sure things aren't wonky. It's about being on that same solution, regardless of what that solution is. It's about hearing out your teams. Again, I mentioned people come from different backgrounds, and that can mean tech backgrounds as well. So it's about understanding why people are putting in certain ideas, why people are saying what they are, and then finding a solution that works with every single person. Again, this doesn't mean that you have to push your idea out, you have to tell people, you have to be bossy, for example, but it just means that you have to understand the solution at hand just to make sure you reach that common goal. At the end of the day, when people bring in different ideas, it doesn't mean that they want to go against you, but you are all working toward one common objective, one common goal, one common solution for that project. All right. So we went over part 1, which was understanding the blueprint. We went over part 2, which was developing the toolbox. The final thing I'd like to go over is the workshop. I know I see these at Home Depot sometimes. Sometimes they have like workshops of like how to install floor tiles, how to install kitchen tiles and whatnot. I personally don't attend them, but I think the workshops are quite beneficial in helping you leverage these tools. So I'll go over some common daily scenarios that I've personally encountered in my job, but some scenarios that I have found other people that have also gone through, so we can talk through these together, and understand how we can leverage those tools here. The first one is hammering through communication. Personally, the biggest thing I have learned when it comes to communication is keeping meeting notes. Now, I personally went into a situation in my prior company where no one was keeping meeting notes, and it kind of turned into a he said, she said situation where someone was misrepresenting what they had said. So from then on, whether the meeting is small or big, I 100% make sure to keep some sort of meeting notes and send it out after. Not only does this hold people accountable for what they say, but this also helps us leverage communicative skills in terms of going back and realizing what happened in that meeting. And in that situation, I had to reorganize that meeting because nobody captured the main idea of it. And this, again, saves everyone's energy, time, and effort into doing stuff all over again, which we shouldn't do. Drilling in universal leadership. So this one's amazing because, like I mentioned, you don't have to be a people manager to be a leader. This could mean hosting mentorship programs for new team members that are coming in. This could mean going into your team meeting, introducing a new tool that people could leverage. This could mean showing people how you utilize your company's resources to get XYZ job done. Again, leadership is not just taking and facilitating someone's growth, but it's also removing obstacles in the way. And that could just literally mean sharing a resource, right? It doesn't have to be something huge in this program that you manage. It's just something small that shows that you are basically fostering a sense of unity and purpose. Now, measuring empathy. This is something that I think we probably encounter on a daily, if not weekly basis, especially if you are in a customer-facing role. People react because of many, many external factors. That could be within their organization, or that could also be outside of their organization. I had a very angry customer once speak to me about how he needed a solution right away. And instead of jumping into conclusions there, you really have to understand, are they getting a push from their manager? Are they on a budget restraint? Do they have a tight deadline to meet? It could be any one of those things that are causing people to behave in a certain way. And sometimes it doesn't have to be related to the job. Unfortunately, we humans carry our personal stresses of our lives into our careers as well. So sometimes it could be unrelated, and it doesn't mean that you have to go and ask people about their personal problems, but just keeping that empathetic mindset, understanding that we humans will react because of many, many factors out there. Now, adjusting the wrench. So this is just finding that comfort zone. The biggest example that I can go over here is when COVID happened, and most of us were forced to switch into this remote work when none of us have. I know I was probably like going into office almost 5 times a day, which was crazy to me now that I think about it. But adjusting to the environment that we had. We were starting to see our coworkers on Zoom. We were starting to maybe get a little bit lazier as the workday went on, but we found that comfort zone, right? A lot of us were impacted with our mental health, but we found ways to go around it. Most of us started new hobbies. Most of us got standing desks to help with the sitting all day. So we found ways and situations to go around and adjusted to the environment that was presented at hand. So again, just finding a comfort zone in an uncomfortable situation is more than enough for you to be adaptable. And then finally, we're leveling out the teamwork here. I mentioned that we come from different backgrounds, we come from different ideas, but one thing to really keep in mind that I hinted on prior is you are all working toward one objective. You are all working toward one goal. And sometimes we lose hindsight of that when people bring in so many ideas and we're like, oh, why is this guy arguing with me every time I bring up something? But sometimes people really believe that something is right, and you gotta give them a bigger picture. You gotta give them a more bigger idea of what's happening, or try to communicate and understand and try to portray, why your answer is the right one. So again, you're working toward the same thing. So I would recommend highly to also just understand. One thing to note here that has worked out for me personally is just understanding cross-departmental team members. I work a lot with customer success, I work a lot with engineering, so to understand their job and to understand why they are leveraging certain tools and resources, it's really helped me in my personal job too, because now I can know, okay, this person can help me out with this person can help me out with that, and I'm not bugging the wrong and right people. So teamwork is not just about your small group of team, it's also outside of your team and understanding the cross-departmental resources that you have. I have some workshop ideas that you can run with your company. I've personally tested out all of these and they're amazing. The first one is just emphasizing active listening and clear writing. So this can mean just having an example of a lengthy email and then everyone can practice narrowing it down. Although I think ChatGPT does that now as well, which is crazy. Another one is just to have a mentorship program, so you can have different team members lead different type of sessions for new hires to come in, so that creates a sense of unity and just fostering that leadership skill. Another one is role play customer exercises, so these are great. You can have example scenarios up, and you really see the high school theater kids' personalities come out in this one. It's amazing, but it's a lot of fun because people try to put themselves in other people's shoes. And then finally, just problem-solving retreats. So this could be an obstacle course. If you want something less active, this could also mean an escape room. You also find out who the most smartest people are in an escape room if you don't know, which you want to know. So as we conclude today's conversation, I know I mentioned quite a bit. I want to go back and really understand what tools that we have in our current toolbox. What tools can we continue to leverage? What tools can we sharpen and refine? And which tools can we continue to add? Like I said in the very beginning, you are not limited to just 5 tools. A toolbox has way more than just 5. So as we develop our career, as we go in and we start to explore different opportunities, different experiences, we want to continue to add more tools. We want to continue to leverage these experiences that we go through and enhance the tools, develop them further, and have even more workshops with our team and organization. Because power skills are, again, the core skills that drive our organization forward. It helps keep our company culture alive. It helps keep us accountable for everything. It also just helps us be more kinder individuals outside of work as well. So I would highly recommend you check your own toolbox and see which tools you need to sharpen, which tools you need to wield, and basically have a better understanding of. I'd like to thank everyone for attending the talk today. I've just popped over my LinkedIn if anyone has any questions, but I do see we have some time, so I'd love to take any questions now. Thank you. There's one up here.
You mentioned taking notes. What is your opinion on auto-transcribing with AI and auto-summary of meetings?
So transcribing with like taking your meeting notes and then summarizing using
No, transcribing meaning listening in on all the meetings with AI and have a full transcript of everything that happened was said during that meeting.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, right? Because it's not just effective communication that gets applied here, it's also holding people accountable for what they have said. I think oftentimes when we run meetings, people forget that, oh, someone can say, I can do this task. And then you go back and you think, wait, who said they can do that? So yes, I completely agree. Even transcribing something can be a great idea. However, if it's an hour-long meeting, it might not be the best because you have pages and pages of recordings that you have to go through. Another idea is also just recording. So if no one wants to keep meeting notes or no one has the time to, I would say just record any and all important meetings and send that out so people can watch it at their own time. But yeah, definitely keep meeting notes. It's an amazing thing to do and just a really small task that you'll get in the habit of.
Hi.
Hi.
How do you deal with these coworkers that has been here for ages and just doesn't want to change his ways of working and communicating?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we probably all have gone through that experience where there's difficult people who don't know how to change their mindset. The only thing that I would recommend here is try to foster the sense of teamwork. So if someone is not adjusting their experience, adjusting the way they're thinking, try to have a teamwork mindset there. Try to push this person like, okay, let's work as a team to fix this. Let's work as a team to navigate through this. Sometimes when you go to one individual and you say, hey, you should change this, they're not going to change. But if you say, as a team, we can try to do this, as a team, we can enhance this, they'll have that better mindset and react more positively to that. I think that's it. Awesome. Thank you so much.